For those who are watching today, just in honour of Mum, we're all wearing our badges and keeping Pat close to our heart. Same with Lucia.
What's in it? Did you lose your bookmark? No. Oh, one second. Who's that in it? Family? Things that also in the back. These boys always
No, beautiful song to begin today's farewell. Well, it's not surprising to see standing room only here this morning, certainly a testament to how loved and respected Pat was by you all. Thank you all for being here. could I remind you, if you haven't already done so, if you could switch off your phones or pop them onto silent for the service, that would be much appreciated. Well, good morning and welcome as we gather in loving memory of Pat, and a warm welcome to those joining us via live stream. With the spirit of love and friendship that you each bring here today, this service will be made even more special. And I know that Donald, Deborah and their families really do appreciate you all being here this morning. I'd like to add, this is a particularly tough day for Deb, her children and grandchildren. Having lost their beloved husband, father and Papa Sam just 7 weeks ago, we certainly wrap our arms around Deb and her family extra tightly today. Well, my name is Gina Brady, and it really is an honour to have been invited to lead today's farewell for Pat. Having officiated services for Tom and Christopher, it really is an honour to be involved in today's celebration of Pat's life. It is my hope that this morning and the rest of today will be a meaningful tribute to Pat and reflect on the cherished memories that she leaves behind. We are gathered here together in this beautiful chapel to honour the life and memory of Patricia and Hollingsworth, or simply Pat as she was known, a loved mother and mother-in-law, a proud grandmother and great-grandmother, a cherished sister-in-law, aunt and friend. This special day of remembrance is an opportunity to acknowledge the important role that Pat has played in all of our lives and our community, and say thank you for everything that she has done. While her family are here to show their love, the friendships that Pat made during her life were formed out of respect and admiration, and I'm sure most of you are here today for exactly that reason. The common theme throughout this service and throughout the rest of today will be what a remarkable woman Pat was. She was loved by everyone who knew her. She was warm-hearted and she touched so many lives with her generosity and her kindness. Caring, giving and determined are just a few words that come to mind when we think of Pat. She was selfless and strong. She was fun. She had a genuine love of life, and her devotion and love of family, friends, and the Lucknow Football Club, where she was so loved, will continue to be appreciated for many years to come. Reaching 92 years of age, Pat has lived a full life, one of value and purpose. And as much as we wish she was here to see how loved she was, knowing she is reunited with her beloved Tom and Christopher, I hope will bring some comfort. Pat missed them both, and it really is a blessing that they are together again. After speaking with Donald and Deborah, it is important to them that the whole of today be a heartfelt and sincere celebration of their mum's life, and a chance for you all to show her the love and respect that she so richly deserves. So as we begin, I would like to acknowledge the people who are most special in Pat's life. The loving wife of Deborah and Sam was deceased. The cherished Big Pat of Samantha, Annalie and Fitu, Victoria and BJ and Chris and their children, Licia, Saniko, Joseph and Samson. Pat was also the much-loved sister-in-law of Pat and her husband Ken, and a respected loved aunt of Carol, Kylie, John and their families. Along with her extended family and many friends here this morning, you were all an important part of Pat's life, and I'm sure if she could, she would thank you all for the love and the friendships that have been shared. As you each take this time to remember Pat in your own special way, may it be a warm reminder of how much she has meant to so many. Well, everyone here this morning carries a story, a memory, a piece of Pat that when woven together, creates a tapestry of a fulfilling and happy life. Everyone here has their own individual memories. You have all known Pat in different ways, and I'm sure there are many things you'll continue to remember. Pat was one of those people that when you met her, you instantly took a liking to her. Years ago, when Deb had a chat to her dad, Tom, about his life, he told her that marrying Pat and having a family was the best decision he ever made. Pat was totally devoted to Tom and her children. She was by Tom's side of life's adventure, support and caring. He told that Pat with any rot. Pat was a tough but fair mum, and she passed on many valuable life lessons to her children. While Pat's family meant the world to her, she also considered the Lucknow community her family, especially everyone at the footy club, and I see lots of black and white here today. Her dedication to the club spanned 73 years from 1951 to present with the current Lucknow Football Netball Club. Pat was a life member and the last of their founding members. And with Tom, they were the lifeblood. And we will hear, you would have read in the last week or so, share the same sentiments. Lucknow supporter and volunteer. And finally, one message that summed her up perfectly. She was a legend and she will be missed. There was lots to share about Pat, and to learn a little more about her life, who better to share it with us than someone who knew her the best and loved her the most, her daughter Deb. Thanks, Deb.
Thank you, Gina, for officiating the funeral services for Dad, Christopher and our mum. It means the world to both Donald and me and our families. Good morning, my name is Deborah Hollingsworth, the youngest of three to both Pat and Tom Hollingsworth. Thank you for being here today, and for those joining us live, we thank you also. It's an honour to stand before you and share Mum's story. She will be missed dearly, but her memory will live on in us all forever. It was November 2020. What a year that was. We were all in the midst of COVID-19. Need I remind you, restrictions, roadblocks, limited visitors, queuing at supermarkets, unable to farewell your friends and loved ones as they too were passing. And Mum and I were talking about life in general. Mum was not fussed. She said, things could be worse, Deborah. To be able to capture at the time and share with you all today. Patricia Ann Hollingsworth, nee Weir, was born on the 4th of January 1932 at Sister Bull's Hospital, Bairnsdale. We always had a bit of a giggle around Mum's birthday because Pop Weir didn't register Mum until the 15th of January, and that was the detail on her original birth certificate. It was, however, corrected by Nana Weir in later years. Mum grew up in Lucknow. The family cottage is still standing today next door to our home on Great Alpine Road. Mum was the youngest child of Chris and Lucretia Weir. Siblings Christopher Warren, Barbara Helen, Clarence John and Marjorie Jenny, all who are deceased, and then Mum. Mum spent her first couple of years as an interest for fond memories of her Auntie Vera up until the day she passed away at the Bairnsdale Geriatric Centre. Mum went to the Lucknow Primary School up until the age of 10, until she was old enough to ride a bike into town where she finished her primary schooling at St Mary's Catholic Primary. Mum and her sister Marge went to school together. Mum also loved accompanying to St Mary's about the times running across the Omeo Highway, now known as the Great Alpine Road, to open the gates at Eastside Tennis Courts in Lucknow, who were owned at the time by Bob and Phoebe Crane. It was worth a sixpence or whatever change they had on them, then off down to Hunt's Lucknow General Store to buy broken biscuits with your payment on the day. It was around the same time the crashing news came home to the family that Pop Weir had passed away with pneumonia at the Bairnsdale Hospital. Mum's schooling went amiss. She spent her time at home with Nana Weir, washing butcher clothes for her brothers, milking cows by hand, feeding the pigs, calves, and this allowed Nana to grow their home produce such as the vegetables, making cream and making the butter. In Mum's early teens, she commenced working as a cleaner at the Victorian commercial hotels locally, to then join the clothing factory and then on to Scanlon's baker shop. Nana Weir then made a decision to move to Oakley to live with her brother Jack and wife Kitty, and this meant Mum had to go too. Back into the workforce, landing a job at the clothing factory in Clayton. 15 months went by, and then Nana decided it was time to return back to the family home. Mum joined the workforce at CJ Coles. Very little had changed while she was away. Mrs. Hinch was still living next door to the Weir family home. Brother Cat Clary and wife Isabel had built on the other side, and Buchanan's were 2 houses away. And more importantly, the love of Mum's life just so happened to be across the road. Tom, Dad, was 15 when his sister was born, And apparently he used to walk her up and down the street every night trying to calm his little sister down. Apparently she had a good set of lungs. Is that right, Pat? And Mum was certain that was Dad's motivation to keep Mum's attention and drawing it in her way, in his favour. As a teenager, Mum loved playing tennis and dancing at Mechanics Hall, now known as the Bensdale Library. Mum and the Crane girls, on their bikes, whilst walking beside, would be Dad, Jeff Stillman, Colin Musselwhite. Still Mum not showing any interest. And Dad would often tell us she was playing hard to get. And Mum would go, "Oh, your father was a bit of a wild buggy, you know." Just have a laugh. Then came the midweek dances at the old Lucknow Hall. Mum was always there, but she had to sit in the canteen under strict instructions from Nana Weir. Dad would always battle to get home from working up the bush, and apparently the trouble and Nana didn't deter him. The year 1951 was a big one for both Mum and Dad. Engaged, and on the 1st of December they were married at St John's Church of England, Bensdale. Their firstborn, Donald, arrived in 1952, Christopher in 54, with myself in the later years, 1963. Whilst being a mother, Mum continued to also enjoy her tennis while supporting Dad throughout his sporting career. He was a gifted sportsman within the district. Mum was apparently pretty good in the court as well, especially when she had a tennis racket in her hand. Dad would always say Mum was the backbone of the family, raising the boys mostly on her own, as Gina has just previously mentioned, until they were in their teens whilst Dad lived away up the bush. Mum put up with no lot. She was tough, but a fair mother, and Dad was very proud of the way she raised us all. Mum supported all of us kids with our sports as well. Donald with his football, Christopher with his swimming, football and basketball, and myself with netball. There were many umpires on the football field who also had a dressing down from Mum too. "You bloody white rabbit," she would say. Maybe she didn't say it quite as nice as that though. Apparently there were some instances on the sideline of the football oval as well, between Mag Ross, Maisie Dingle and Pat Hollingsworth. Once we all retired, the next generations came through, and it gave Mum so much delight to be up there barracking for Carol, Kylie and John. Then much later and more recently, Sean came through the sporting ranks, and there was definitely only one card you could hear around the ground. Yep, that's Auntie Pat. According to Mum, the three best decisions of Mum's life too were getting married to Dad, buying their first home, and having kids who always put a smile on her face. Only sometimes she did not smile, and if that happened, look out. Donald and I cherish so many memories of Mum. Beneath her tough shell was a real softie, and Mum's hard exterior could never hide that she had a generous and caring nature, always keeping an eye out for others. You just need to look around the local community to see the difference she has made. We have both learned much from her over the years. Mum gave many years of service to the following organisation. President of the Lucknow Football Club Ladies Committee, 1953 to 1988, and continued on serving and supporting the new generation until the early 1990s. The RSL legacy, supporting children within the program in the early 60s. Lucknow Primary School Mothers Club, Bensdale Technical School Canteen, Lucknow Memorial Hall Committee, Life Member Red Cross, Lucknow District, Life Member Victorian Ambulance Auxiliary, serving many years, but you'll hear a little bit more about that later. Lifetime member of the Lucknow Football and Netball Club, 1951 to 2024. Just a small number of 73 years. And in the later, Mum thoroughly enjoyed her days with elderly citizens. They had craft days, they had lunches, you had to know Mum's schedule. Mum was also the joint founder of the Lucknow Football Club Ladies Catering Committee, alongside the late Nellie McLaren. In later years, joined by Reen Ashby, Clarence Nash, Biddy Scott, Pat McLaren, Alice Payne, Isabella Morgan, Shirley Law and Iris Meetings, just to name a few. There wasn't a wedding or large celebration in town that didn't request the Ladies Committee to cater for their event. Long hours, loads of fun. Another source of raising funds for the Lucknow Football Club, and one of the many forms of inspirations for other clubs to follow in the district. The challenge was on. Who were the best caterers? Let's not forget the raffles. There was always another book to fill, and that once a year time with Melbourne Cup sweeps. Being the youngest of three, I was always in awe of Mum and Dad, the stories the boys had to share, and of course the cousins who would often come to live with us throughout the various stages of their lives, along with supporting the children as part of the RSL Legacy program. Whether it was on good or bad terms, they always left a better person than they were when they arrived. Mum was an amazing cook. Sunday roast she never missed. Christmas was always special. No measurements required, except the Christmas pudding. Dad would always say to her, "Jan, that's a dark pudding, Pat." And she'd reply, "I followed the recipe." There was never a real recipe. It was just throw it all in. The same pudding would sometimes feed up to 25-30, not including takeaways. When all the family came together, Pat and Ken and their tribe, Nana Pop Holly, Nana William, even Uncle Alec, who lived across the road all alone, he never missed out on a feed either. Mum would always be able to cater for whoever turned up. Numbers never fussed her. We would joke about how well stocked her pantry and freezer were. She was prepared just in case the army dropped in. Donald and Christopher both would rock up any time of the weekend, before and after footy training with friends. There was always something sitting on the warmer of the slow combustion stove. It was known to be said, "You'll always get a good feed at the Hollingsworth house." Early days of retiring, Mum and Dad decided to only travel to various destinations around Australia. This was their time. Far from the days when our annual holidays were in Eagle Point, sleeping on the beach at Lake's Entrance, or the annual surf competition at Golden Beach. There were no tents, mosquito coils, gas burners, or even the odd blowfly buzzing around. Sometimes they would meet up with Mum's brother Clary in Adelaide and tour around the local villages. Uncle Clary loved Adelaide as well, and he showed them the way. The year was 1988. Mum had her very first and only flight. Melbourne Gold Coast return. Mum, Pat, Dad's sister, and I were on our way to Expo. Long days exploring many a country destinations. Far north Queensland, climatic weather, dining on the water's edge at some great restaurants, and Mum's favourite, seafood. In later retiring years, Mum joined senior citizens, always loved a game of cards, and as young children in our family home, everyone was taught how to play patience, poker, euchre and 500. Her senior colleagues had craft days of knitting and crocheting. I suspect she's knitted enough stitches to go around the world. Tuesdays was always a regular morning tea at Mum's. If you were planning to visit, you needed to know her schedule. Mum was fiercely independent, determined to live in her own home up until the day she had to fall. I'm truly grateful for the care she received from both Donald and Pat post Dad's passing. I would also, on behalf of the family, like to thank Dr. Darryl Smith, Mum's GP, and all the staff at that McLeod Street Medical Centre. The care you all gave Mum was phenomenal. Our beloved Mum was an inspiration, an example to me and to all of our family. We owe her the most heartfelt debt any family could owe to their mother, for her love, affection, guidance, understanding and example. Thank you for giving us the strength, our heart, our empathy, our courage, our sense of humour, our manners, our tempers, our wilderness and our tenacity. Thank you for all you have done for us, your devotion to family and our local communities, for all the times you were by our sides to help and support us, for celebrating our successes and for understanding our problems and accepting our defeats, for teaching us by example, your example, the value of hard work, good judgment, integrity, not to forget your sacrifices for all of us. Thank you for the baby shawls, the crocheted rugs, baby jackets and booties that kept us all warm and our babies too. And finally, for the simple things in life like laughter, smiles and the good times we shared. Patricia Pat Hollingsworth, our mum, was a life well lived, a promise that destiny kept, and she is mourned most deeply from her past. Wherever you may live in the realms of this community, and whatever may be your background or beliefs, we thank you all for the warmth, respect and love. Mum, as you begin your last great journey to join Dad, I want to simply say this. Thank you. Thank you for your love and devotion to our family and to the families within our community that you have served so diligently. May flights of angels send you to thy rest.
Deb, that was perfect. As I mentioned, a very tough time for you and your family today, but remember we've been very proud that you did that, and I know on behalf of Donald, thank you for sharing those memories of your beautiful mum. Certainly, there's lots of really lovely memories there and lots of stories to share. We are going to have a couple of people come forward and share some tributes, but we're going to take a break from speaking and take a moment to enjoy a photo presentation. In your booklet you will notice that there are a few people coming forward. I'm going to share Danielle's tribute and then a few other people speaking. There is a chance, if you would like to come forward anyone in the room to share a memory or a story, there's a chance to do so after the photo. So have a think about that while you're watching photos, and we'll enjoy a photo presentation on Pat's life. Thank you.
Be careful, Mum.
Where's the mask? We'll get the mask. Right.
shoulders, you raise me up to more than I can be. You raise me up to more than I can be.
Early morning, there's a message on my phone. It's my mother saying, God, how could you leave us all behind? There's so much to say, but there's so little time. So how do I say goodbye to someone who's been with me for my whole damn life? You gave me my name and the color of your eyes. See your face when I look at mine. So how do I say goodbye when I couldn't? You always saw the best in me. Right or wrong, you were always on my side. But I'm scared of what life without you's like. And I saw the way she looked into your eyes. And I promise if you go, I will make sure she's alright. So how do I say goodbye to someone who's been with me for my whole damn life? You gave me my name and the color of your eyes. See your face when I look at mine. So how do I say goodbye? There's no way you could ever let me down. Gonna steal some time and start again. You'll always be my closest friend. And someday
Happy birthday to you. Hooray! Hooray! Hooray!
you gave me my name and the color. See you are the best. And I promise if you go, I will make sure she's alright. So how do I say goodbye to someone who's been with me for my whole damn life? Mine. So how do I say goodbye? There's no way you could ever let me down. Gonna steal some time and start again. You'll always be my closest. And someday we'll work it out. So say goodbye to someone who's been with me for my whole damn life. You gave me my name and the color of your eyes. See your face when I look at mine. So how do I say
what you did to do really did come true. Someday I wish upon a star and wake up when the clouds are far behind me. Where troubles melt like lemon drops, all way above the chimney tops. That's where you someday I wish upon a star and wake up where the clouds are far behind me. Where troubles melt like lemon drops, all way above the chimney tops. That's where you'll find me.
Full and very happy life. I'm going to begin our tributes now to Pat by one sent through from Danielle Ryan, who can't be with us today, but she is watching via live stream. So, Danielle, I proudly share this on behalf of you. Thank you all for gathering here today for my Auntie Pat. I'm sorry I can't be there in person, but I'm watching via live stream and thinking of all the family. Auntie Pat, you are the heart of our family, a strong woman, and I hope to live as long as you. I have so many cherished memories, especially from my childhood. Christmases crammed into the kitchen around the table for Christmas lunch, and then digging into the custard searching for the money rewards. As us kids didn't like Christmas pudding, you would give us custard instead and slip in the money without us knowing. Tuesday morning with cuppas, scones and biscuits. You always had toys for the kids and a special spot at the window where you'd lick your finger and wipe our hair to try and curl it and smile at us. From playing in your backyard to family gatherings at your place, and even when you bought my first groceries after I got my house, those moments really did mean everything to me. I love the comfort of being at your home, dreaming of the day that I could have your glass tea set and indulging in your tin of lollies. I admired how you still went to the footy, cheering enthusiastically, or drove right up to the fence so you could watch the netball. You were a pillar of strength and joy for our family. I will miss you dearly, Auntie Pat, and I will cherish our memories forever. May you rest in peace with Uncle Tom and Christopher. Until we meet again, love, Danielle. Now, I'm going to invite Mr. Neville Hardy, who's going to share with us a tribute on behalf of the Ambulance Auxiliary. Thanks, Neville.
Good morning. For those who don't know me, my name is Neville Hardy and I've been involved in the Bairnsdale Ambulance Auxiliary for just over 50 years, not as long as what Pat was. It is an honour to stand before you on behalf of the Ambulance Auxiliary, but it's a task to capture a person like Pat in the short amount of time that we have today. So let's touch on some of the tremendous milestones that Pat has been involved in, actively too. Pat joined the auxiliary in the late 1960s. But then we'll start on 1973. Ambulance Opportunity Shop was operating in Bailey Street, and Pat was the treasurer of the Ladies' Committee. This was before moving into Dawson's Arcade. Now, a lot of you may remember Bailey Street Shop and the Dawson's Arcade. July 1975, a new ambulance station was built at Malakuta and opened in that November. Bairnsdale Ladies Auxiliary paid for the new station's furniture and, I wouldn't mind betting, a lot of their equipment as well. July 1975, new ambulance station. October 1976, all the money raised by the Ladies Auxiliary was put into equipment for the Bairnsdale ambulance, and in the early years they bought all the equipment and the vehicles. So it was no mean task. Bairnsdale ambulance station was benefit, and the public benefit from this. 1984, Ladies Auxiliary celebrated 25 years of fundraising activities, whereby a luncheon was provided by them by the Men's Committee. But we did supply them each year. We did supply a lunch for the ladies because they did 90%, well, I would say 99% of the work and fundraising. 1985, the lease of the ambulance station Opportunity Shop expired in Dawson's Arcade. The Ladies Auxiliary then located the Opportunity Shop to Main Street. Now that was in the brick house right next to the Bairnsdale Fire Station. That's now owned, or was used by the fire station for many years. Following a move, they moved to half the house opposite, next to the service station. Then it took a little bit, when that tenant left, the ambulance Ladies Auxiliary took over the whole shop. Unfortunately, it closed its doors in 18th December 2021. Volunteers were hard to get. Health and regulations were impossible to try and meet. 1987 was also a big event. Both the men's and ladies' committees amalgamated into one committee. May 1996, a sign was erected in the Keene Street block stating that this would be the home of the new ambulance station for Bairnsdale District. Now that block was right behind the hospital, and the hospital health service did require that for the development of their aged care future. So, with money raised from the sale of that, in April 2000, the new ambulance station was location was up for discussion again. They purchased land at the bottom of the hospital hill. It was ideal block because you could see up the highway and you could also enter from the back of the station. So that was there. In August 2002, the building of the long-awaited ambulance station began with the first sod being turned by the ladies' president. You've guessed it, Pat Hollingsworth, and the men's president, Maury Williams. January 2024, Pat had the privilege to join the COO of the Ambulance Victoria, and that was on the day of her 92nd birthday, which Pat also had the honour of turning the sod at the same location in 2002. The memories and stories shared today make up just a small part of the person that Pat was. Pat was a pioneer who worked her way through many decades, and Pat will be remembered as a selfless woman, not only for her energy and dedication, but the one who went through life helping others. Thank you, Pat.
Thank you, Neville. Nice little trip down memory lane of the history of the ambulance auxiliary for those locals. I'm sure you will remember all those shops and those locations, so thanks for sharing that, Neville. Stephen, your turn. It's going to share us a few things about Pat and the Lucknow Footy Club.
Thanks, Gina. Morning all. For those that don't know, my name's Stephen Bull. I'm the current president of the Lucknow Football Club, netball. I'd like to talk a little bit about a lady who gave her heart and soul to the Lucknow Football Club. Pat was a founding member when the club was reformed in 1951. Unfortunately, Pat was the last of the originals, and with her passing is the end of an era. Pat would often talk about the early days when things were a little different to what we have today. Back then, the oval was over near the dog obedience ground, where that is today. The canteen consisted of a bark hut with a tan bark floor with 2 copper pots of boiling water. One was for the hot dogs and one was for making cups of tea. If it was a wet day and the cars couldn't bring the canteen supplies, you would often see the ladies transferring everything from a house nearby in an old wheelbarrow. I kid you not. In early times, the Ladies Committee was the backbone of the club's fundraising, to which Pat was the president for many years, working tirelessly, catering for weddings and various functions, which was a huge revenue raiser. They would cater for many of these functions over at the old Lucknow Memorial Hall, with the ladies helping in some of the form or another, which included both my mother and grandmother, but it was always Pat who organised everything over many years. On presentation night each year, Pat would hand over a cheque to the president from all the funds that were raised throughout the canteen and catering. There's quite a famous photo from 1975 of Pat handing over a cheque for $1,000 to the then president, Kevin Nash. It may not sound like much in today's currency, but in 1975 was quite a bit of money. Every second Friday, the football club held a euchre card night in the club rooms. The alternative week, it would be held at the Lucknow School, and Pat was involved in both. Then along came bingo, with my grandfather Harold Ball being the first licensed permit holder of bingo in East Gippsland. This saw the very first bingo in Bairnsdale held at the Imperial Hotel, and you guessed it, Pat was there. Right from the start until the end a few years ago, Pat attended and supported the Lucknow Bingo. Like many other regular bingo players, there was always a seat, and they all sat in their same seats each week. Excuse me for a sec. Right, so I'll go back to this, sorry. Lost the track. Pat attended and supported the Lucknow Bingo, and like many regular bingo players, there was always Pat always sat in the same seat week in, week out. But look out if you sat in Pat's chair. They would kindly and quickly be said, and sometimes not so politely, to find another seat. Sorry about that. My earliest recollection of Pat was a round, smiling face staring out of the canteen on game day. Sometimes you would hear her offer advice to the umpires, and on occasion telling the opposition players what to do, especially the young players. Mum tells me as a baby I'd be in a pram and in the canteen, and if I started to grizzle, Pat would give me a lolly, usually a snake. Then you would hear Pat say to Mum, "That will keep him quiet for a while, my dear." But Mum said every time she took a look around, I had another snake. And she reckons by the end of the day I was a little highbo thanks to Pat's kindness. After many years of canteen work, Pat decided it was time to hand over the reins to the younger ones. But she never lost the love of her beloved football club. And every home game you would see her old green falcon on the hill, just around from the goals at the school end, and every time a goal was kicked you would hear that horn toot. In the last few years, with the arrival of the new facility, Pat would be behind the glass watching her beloved black and white. Everybody that knew her would pop their heads in and say hello. She was always happy to tell a story or two about the good old days. But times move on and it's an end of an era. Pat was an icon around the club, and it won't be the same looking back through the glass. Not seeing her smiling face. We're going to miss you, Pat. You were such a legend around the place. And every time I look at the sign, the Pat Hollingsworth's kitchen, I remember you. Rest in peace, Pat. God knows you've earned it.
Steve, that was perfect. Thank you. It was some laughter and also some tears, and yeah, very heartfelt. I did mention earlier, if there is anyone that would like to come forward and share a memory or a story, there's a chance. Would anyone like to come forward? I know when we do conclude here today, we are headed to the Lawn Cemetery where we will formally conclude this celebration of Pat's life, and then, fittingly, Pat's family are headed back to the Lucknow Football Netball Club rooms, get that right, to the Pat Hollingsworth kitchen. We're going to cater for refreshments this afternoon, and a very fitting way to continue sharing those memories at the club rooms there. So please feel free to join the family and enjoy an afternoon of sharing those memories. Now Molly is going to finish our tributes by sharing the Lord's Prayer, and while she does share the Lord's Prayer, I invite those who wish to please join me in the Lord's Prayer.
Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but to deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, the power and the glory, forever and ever. Amen.
Well, Pat's life and achievements have been beautifully expressed today through the tribute shared and also the photos shared by people who knew her well. While it's hard to capture everything about Pat, if we had to sum up her life, we would keep coming back. And her generosity and dedication was appreciated and valued by her family, her friends, and by our community. May her spirit live on in the stories we share and the love that continues to connect us. There's no question our lives are richer for having known Pat, and I'm sure if she could, she would thank each and every one of you, particularly the front few rows here, for being such an important part of her life. I have a short verse to share to conclude today. They are perfect words to conclude this farewell for Pat. In every smile on every face, Pat made our community a better place. With loving arms and a caring heart, her generosity for others set her apart. With helping hands, she shaped our lives. Through giving and sharing, her legacy thrives. In every challenge, her spirit shone. Her loving memory will never be gone. Though now we have, it will not die. Well, in the end, it's not the years in your life that count, it's the life in your years. And I'm sure if there was one thing that Pat would want us all to take from today, it would be to cherish life and don't sweat the small stuff. Be kind, be respectful, be generous and caring of others. But most of all, Pat would want everyone to be happy. Pat, we say farewell with a certain knowledge that our love goes with you. As we conclude today and listen to our final song, before that is played, I'm going to ask now if anyone from the Lucknow Football Club could make their way out. So if you could make your way out there now, that would be much appreciated.
Everyone stand.